What's going on, y'all? It's JD Piquel. Today on the Hard Count, we're going to call our shots for the 2021 college football season. Welcome to the internet party that is 365 Sports. Subscribe to the channel. We want you here with us. We want to be here with you. This is a community, all right? So comment what you want to see below. Let us know what you want to see so we can give that to you, okay? This is a great partnership we have going. We provide what you want to see week in and week out. So we're going to keep this thing rolling as we jump into what is going to be one of the most interesting seasons in the history of the greatest game that has ever existed, that is college football. Obviously, last year, huge asterisk next to it. No matter what you want to say about it, there's a big asterisk next to the college football season that was 2020. COVID protocols, season starting at different times, all of that, guys missing games because of COVID. I hope we see less of that with the vaccine now. I hope we see less guys missing games. But we're going to go ahead and just jump right into it and tell you what we think we're going to see, what I think we're going to see for this upcoming college football season. We're going to talk about the playoff first and foremost, okay? Because that's what this thing is about, right? Playoff. Shout out Coach Mora. Listen, it's really tough because all of these teams have so many super seniors, or there's a lot of guys playing musical chairs via the transfer portal. So there was a lot of teams that went into consideration. So we're going to go playoff contenders, our playoff picks. Then we're going to go to spoilers, okay? So first off, Alabama. Reload, not rebuild. New quarterback in Bryce Young, guy from modern-day high school who's just racking up the NIL money. But the guy's a playmaker. He's a dual threat, something that the college game is trending more to. Regardless of what you want to say about Alabama and what they lost, think about just how much Alabama has lost in years before. Like, this is not going to be a new drill for Nick Saban. It's going to be studs on defense, going to be studs on offense. Henry Toto from Tennessee is there. He's going to anchor that defense along with a myriad of other players that will be playing on Sundays. Alabama, lock them in for the college football playoff yet again. Surprise, surprise. I also see Clemson in the college football playoff. Dabo Swinney. They have missed it, I don't even know how many times, but it's not a lot, okay? They just run the thing every single year. They run that division for the most part, or that conference, I should say. I think Carolina is the toughest game that they could have to play in the conference championship. They don't play them in the regular season, okay? So Clemson, relatively smooth path to the playoff. DJ Uiagalelei is going to be a stud. First-year starter, another guy to Southern California from the Trinity League, same league as Bryce Young from Alabama. They played each other a lot in high school. Could be on a crash course. That's all I'm saying. But DJ Uiagalelei, we'll talk about him later. The entire defense is back for the Clemson Tigers as well, okay? So they're going to have a lot of dudes that have played football, that are familiar with everything of the speed of the game. There will be no adjustment period for this defense. They'll come out slinging, and you better believe DJ Uiagalelei. That's a tongue twister. We got to find a nickname for him. Maybe just DJ for the future. They're going to be ready to roll, all right? Clemson's going to be a lock in my mind for the college football playoff. Next, Oklahoma. And these are all pretty boring picks so far, but they're boring because these teams are just good every single year. So we'll get to hot takes in a little bit, but these teams are just good every single year. Spencer Rattler, according to ESPN, is the number one player in college football as of today. That could change. I don't believe he'll win the Heisman. Again, another topic we'll get to in a little bit, but I really believe that Spencer Rattler does have enough juice to get this team to the college football playoff. An embarrassment of riches on offense. Their defense, it continues to improve under Alex Grinch. I think they'll take another big step this upcoming year. A lot to be excited about. I think Oklahoma probably gets there with a loss. I don't think they lose more than one game, but I don't think they get there undefeated. So go ahead and pencil in Oklahoma for that third spot in the college football playoff. Then Ohio State. Toughest game is going to be Oregon, or it could be Penn State, depending on how good Penn State is and what you want to think about them when it comes to that point in the season. But bottom line, their toughest game we know for sure will be at least week 2. So new starter at quarterback. C.J. Stroud was announced as QB1. A lot of young talent. C.J. Stroud never thrown a pass in a college game, but bottom line, same thing with Alabama. Like, these teams, they just reload. They develop their players well. They recruit better than anybody in the country. They're going to be good. They're going to be back again this year in the college football playoff. So go. Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State, probably the most boring picks ever for the college football playoff. I see Clemson and Bama lining it up for the, fifth time, sixth time? I don't know how many times this is for Alabama and Clemson to be dating in the college football playoff. I like Clemson to win the whole thing. We're just calling our shots here, all right? That's what we're doing here on this preseason show. We're calling the shots. Some teams that could play spoiler. I think you got to look at North Carolina. They don't play Clemson in the regular season, like I mentioned. They lose a lot in the running game, okay? So they lost 2 of their best running backs. Sam Howell is a stud. He's going to have to carry this team if they're going to play spoiler for this college football playoff. I really like Georgia too. Georgia with JT Daniels. They did great in the transfer portal as well, getting Tyke Smith and Eric Gilbert. Tyke Smith obviously will miss the beginning of the season, but he'll be ready to go when it's time to play playoff football if they find themselves in that position. But the trick to me is going to be, can JT Daniels take the next step, and can Georgia run the gauntlet in the SEC? Because those are two very difficult things to do, especially for a guy that didn't start last season until, he didn't start game 1. He started, I think, game 5 or so. He didn't start game 1 is all we're getting at right there. So Georgia and UNC could play spoiler. Not necessarily my picks to make the playoff, but would not be surprised if they did make the playoff. Heisman picks. I'm going DJ Uiagalelei. It's a tongue twister. I like him a lot. We saw what he could do a year ago. He stepped in against Notre Dame in his first start ever when Trevor Lawrence was out due to COVID and just absolutely balled lights out. Like, the guy's a gamer. He's a big body. He's going to absolutely tear it up, especially with the weapons he has around him. There's just going to be no answer for DJ Uiagalelei this season, if you ask me. I really like him a lot, and I think he is on a tear to win the Heisman Trophy. Now we get into some controversy. Hottest takes going into this next coming season. So these are not necessarily things that I am thinking will happen 100%. These are, I understand, a little bit of a hot take. Dream with me, roll with me. I would say give me pushback in the comments, but I know you're going to do that anyway, so I appreciate you in advance for doing so. Notre Dame, Vegas has them at 8.5 wins. I think they're less than that. I have them squarely at 8. I don't love Jack Cohn. I don't think he's really the answer at Notre Dame. Will he start the whole season? Is a question in my mind. I don't know that he's necessarily your answer long-term at Notre Dame. I think he's a fine player, but just not enough to necessarily get you to win 9 games. Again, a hot take, I realize that, but we're going to roll with that. Again, then Kiran Slovis is a Heisman finalist, and USC wins the Pac-12. Kiran Slovis, this is a big year for him as it pertains to the NFL. This is probably the last year for Clay Helton if he doesn't get it done at USC and win the conference. I think he's probably out. So pressure makes diamonds. Kiran Slovis can have his Heisman moment in late October against Notre Dame. They get Utah at home, so a lot of things are lining up in my mind for Kiran Slovis to have an enormous year and be a Heisman finalist. So those are the shots we're calling. Again, Notre Dame, under 8.5 wins. Kiran Slovis, Heisman finalist. USC wins the Pac-12. We're rolling with it, okay? Let me know your hot takes below so we can talk about those in future videos, because that's what makes this fun. Again, the community, the back and forth. We love it. We're college football fans, and we're glad you're joining us. So that's been it on the Hard Count. Again, subscribe to the channel, like the video, tell us what you want to see next, because that's how we operate, okay? Keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.